Did that really just happen? I'm at a loss for words after what I just saw in the Royal Rumble, and man, I mean, wow, that was everybody's worst nightmare come true. Like, the things that we all feared would actually happen actually happened. that rumored WrestleMania card that I talked about, in my last video, looks a lot more likely coming out of the Royal Rumble, and I am not a happy camper. And by the sound of it, so are many of the fans that were in attendance at the Royal Rumble. That was a disaster. That show just blew up in the WWE's faces. Wow. I mean, that backfired like nobody's business. And it's really a clear indicator of fans don't want to see that. It was a disaster. I can't remember the last time I saw a crowd turn on a show like that. Maybe ECW December to Dismember when they started chanting "Where's our refunds?" It didn't quite get to that level, but it was pretty bad. And I shouldn't even have to say what happened. Like I said, the worst possible scenario that you could imagine, it happened. But going over the show, the one good thing that I can say about the show is that the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt match that opened up the show was very, very good, and really got the show off to a really great start, and made me think that maybe they were going to do something big later in the show. I mean, they did, but not what I wanted. I talked about it when I talked about my top 15 favorite Royal Rumble moments, where one of my favorites was when Bret Hart limped out there at 94 when everybody thought he was hurt. And I thought, oh my God, maybe that's what they're going to do with Bryan. First of all, him and Wyatt had this amazing match. Like, very, very, very good. And for the people that say that Bray Wyatt can't work, granted, I know he was working with Daniel Bryan, but he carried his own load here, and it made for a very strong matchup. There was talks that Bryan had a concussion, and Bray Wyatt beat him up really bad during the match and stuff like that. So I thought maybe they're going to have Bryan come out at the end and do the sympathy thing like they did with Bret in 94, 20 years ago. Boy, was I wrong. But we'll get there. We'll get there when we talk about the Rumble. Next up, we got Brock Lesnar versus Big Show, which was basically just filler. It's really hard for me to give a shit about Brock Lesnar beating somebody up when I know it's all being used to set him up to lose to Undertaker at WrestleMania. I just don't care. I don't care. And maybe I would have liked it more if it didn't go as long and Lesnar didn't sell it all for Big Show, because it was very weird how they did it. If he had just straight up beat the holy hell out of Big Show and Show got no offense in, I probably would have accepted it a lot more, but they gave Big Show, a little bit more offense than I would have given him. But whatever. At the end of the day, he's just being used to set up. It's just being used to set up Brock for Undertaker, and I don't care. I can't be bothered to give a shit. Speaking of not being bothered to give a shit, John Cena versus Randy Orton for the title was a disaster, and the crowd, they absolutely shit on the match, and they should have, because even if you are a die-hard John Cena or Randy Orton fan, even you have to be bored with this. I mean, we've seen this match dozens of times. We have to be in like the category where if I say it's happened dozens of times, it is not hyperbolic. It's the truth. They've had this match that many times. And it's boring. It's like, all right, we've already seen Orton beat up Cena's dad to sell a pay-per-view match. We've seen that. And you're acting like it's never happened before. And they acted like during the show like this was the, quote, most heavily anticipated rematch in WWE history. And the crowd just didn't give a shit. And it's impossible to give a shit because I've seen it so many goddamn times. So that match tanked. And here's where I'm going to get into some ranting again. The Wyatts helped Randy Orton win, and they beat up John Cena after the match, which is, okay. So Bray Wyatt goes over Daniel Bryan just to set him up for John Cena. And if they do that John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Legends Dream Team that everybody's talking about, fuck you. Seriously, just fuck off. So you're taking this cool gimmick, these cool characters, you gave them a big win over Bryan just to set them up to fall to the New Age mega powers, Hulk Hogan and John Cena, a pairing that I don't give a shit about, mainly because Hulk Hogan is 845 years old and can't do anything. I don't care anymore. And John Cena, I've never liked Cena. He's the fucking Tom Brady of wrestling. He's just this lame-ass character that they want us to believe is this ultimate good guy, and he's the man. He's got this nice smile and everything, and I just sit there grumbling the whole time because he wins all the fucking time. I think he's annoying, and I'm just sitting there like, I hate your fucking smile, I hate your t-shirts, I hate your fucking 5 moves of doom, I hate fucking everything about you, you goddamn motherfucker. And I can't be bothered to care about anything that Cena does, which is why if they turned him heel, it would be brilliant. Because Tom Brady, great fucking heel. It's that same thing. It's like they want us to believe that he's this great thing, and he's a very talented quarterback, sure, absolutely, but you get annoyed when he wins all the time, and the Patriots, they win under shady circumstances like the Tuck rule, and you just fucking hate him, and you know, nobody wants sorry, I'm having a problem with my camera here, okay. And nobody wants Brady to get that fucking infinity gauntlet of Super Bowl rings that he's fucking working on, and just fuck him. And who the fuck am I mad at? I'm losing track. Wait a minute. One rant at a time. Okay, so Cena is a piece of shit. And I hate his character. I hate everything about him. And the Wyatts being used, they get a win over Bryan just to set them up to fall at the hands of Cena and possibly Hogan, if that happens. Because if it's Cena and Hogan, there's no way in holy hell that the Wyatts are winning, and that just makes me sick if that's exactly what they're doing. And it's, man, just fuck, I don't care. We could have had Shield and Wyatts. Why don't you want to give us that? And here's the thing, I'm not like a weird mark that lives and dies by star ratings. I'm not saying I want to see Shield and Wyatts because it'll be a quote-unquote 4-star match. I want to see it because they're two badass factions that you created, WWE. You created these 3-man factions that kill everybody and beat the holy hell out of everybody, and it just makes my imagination run. It's like, oh geez, these group of badasses, what would happen if you put them together? And they had a feud. And when they had their brief interactions right before Survivor Series of last year, the crowds went apeshit because they just got it. It made sense. It was a character clash that fit, was intriguing, was exciting. That's why we want it. That's why it's so interesting. I remember hearing an interview with Mick Foley where he said he wanted Shield and Wyatts before the Wyatts even debuted, because it's like, look, one 3-man faction, another 3-man faction coming in. Both of them are viewed as seemingly unbeatable. I mean, not entirely unbeatable, but seemingly unbeatable. Put them together, see what happens. And, of course, I made the idea of, oh, they could do War Games. War Games isn't entirely feasible because you need 2 rings for that, and that would be a little awkward for all of WrestleMania to have a 2-ring setup. It's like, all right, maybe War Games is out of the question. But, do like a big street fight or a tornado tag or something like that with these 2 brawling hardcore roughneck teams. It would be great. And not only are they great because of how similar they are, they're great because of their differences, because one's a gang of hillbillies and the other one they're like sleek and cool looking badasses in riot gear. So again, all the better. It's like, oh well, they want to do a Shield split, they want to split Roman Reigns from the group. Okay, fine. Can we get the Shield and Wyatts match first? You could have the Wyatts go over, give them the acknowledgement for beating the Shield and finally doing away with them, putting more heat on them, and then Roman Reigns splits from the group. Why can't we have that? Why can't you do that? It's entirely within the realm of possibility, and it would be exciting, it would be fun, and you get what you get the result you wanted anyway with Roman Reigns splitting from the group. I don't understand. Make me understand, because I don't understand why you do these things. You don't do these cool things. Again, I don't live and die by star ratings. I just, you pitch characters and ideas to me, and they sound really interesting, and I think they should happen, and you make me want these things by establishing these characters in these situations, and then you don't follow through on it. It just makes me scratch my head. It's like, yeah. Okay, sure. Fine. And then we get into the Royal Rumble. Now, before I start ranting, and trust me, I'm going to rant, let me just say that the Royal Rumble this year was not completely devoid of entertaining moments. Kofi Kingston had another cool Royal Rumble escape. He had two, actually. The Shield went in there and tore shit up. That was fun to have all three of them in there at the same time. Roman Reigns set the record for most Royal Rumble eliminations, to the shock of no one. I think we all expected Roman Reigns to chuck bitches out of there left and right, but it was fun. It was cool. I was like, all right, that stuff was cool. That was fine. Sheamus made his return, and I usually don't care about Sheamus, but that was a nice little reaction, nice little moment, I guess, and he looked good in there, so, okay, cool. I've never accused Sheamus of being a bad worker or being a bad athlete or anything like that. I just hate his character because he's basically Irish Cena. A lot of the times, and in some cases he's worse than Cena, but whatever, that was fine. Now for the rest of it. Again, you had the setup at the start where Daniel Bryan lost and he was hurt. And Daniel Bryan is already the most beloved and over babyface on your roster. That is not a debate. That is not in question. That is fact. Daniel Bryan is the most universally beloved, liked, and admired character, superstar, wrestler on the WWE roster. And I don't think anybody can argue with me on that point. And again, I want to drive this home. I don't live and die by star ratings. I don't want to see Daniel Bryan in a main event position because I think it'll be a 4-star match. I do not want to see Daniel Bryan in a top position because, well, I watched him in ROH, and it's cool that he's in the big leagues in the WWE, and I just want him in that spot, regardless of how creative gets him there. I even made a video about that last year. I want Daniel Bryan in that main event spot because you, the WWE, you made me want it. You created Daniel Bryan and made him into this underdog personality, some of it by accident, like the 18-second loss at WrestleMania, but you made him into this ultimate underdog character that is easy to get behind, is easy to admire, and he's gained more and more popularity as the weeks and months have gone on. And after he got screwed at SummerSlam, we all thought that Daniel Bryan's going to go on the path and he's going to get that title back soon, or at the very least he's going to face Triple H at WrestleMania and take him down. One of those two. And the fact that he was not even in the Royal Rumble makes me sick. I cannot believe that they could be that stubborn and pull that. And the crowd let them know it, and it was hilarious. And I felt bad for Rey Mysterio because he came out at 30, and when number 30 hit and Bryan didn't come out, the crowd knew that he wasn't coming out, and they shit on Rey big time. It's like, look, Rey, don't shoot the messenger. You know, Rey's just going out there with the number they told him to go out there. But it really is a sign of the stubbornness of the WWE to pull something like that. And even CM Punk went in at number 1, lasted all the way through, and it wasn't that stellar of a performance because I forgot he was there half the time. But whatever, they had Punk go all the way, and he lasted all the way into the end, and then he gets eliminated. So it's going to be Punk and Triple H at Mania. Where the fuck does that leave Bryan? Daniel Bryan, the most beloved character, superstar wrestler on your roster, and you don't have a big plan for him at WrestleMania? That is ignorance and, again, just stubborn. And I can't believe they did that. I really can't believe they did that to him. What's he going to do? Is he going to tag with Cena and Hogan against the Wyatts? Why the fuck would Daniel Bryan pair with Cena? I mean, what? I don't want to see that. Why would he pair with Hogan? I don't want to see that. I want to see Daniel Bryan succeed and accomplish the goals that the authority in the storyline that they said he couldn't. That's what I want to see from Daniel Bryan, because that's the story you were telling, and that's what you made me want. When Austin got screwed out of the title in '98, I wanted to see Austin get back at Vince, overcome all the obstacles, win the Rumble, and then win the title back at WrestleMania. That was what you made me want. And to not even have him in the Rumble And not only that, he was not in the Rumble. Guess who was in the Rumble? Kevin Nash. They dusted him off. JBL, who came off the commentary booth just to do the comedy spot where he gets knocked out in 5 seconds. El Torito, the Matador's mascot, was in the Rumble, and guys had to sell for him. He even eliminated Fandango, and I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. But fine, whatever. It wasn't as bad as when Hornswoggle was doing it a few years ago. But you put those guys in there, but Daniel Bryan can't have a spot? Are you serious? They put an NXT guy in there. I forget his name. Which, again, I'm all for building young talents, but, priorities here. Priorities. And it was like, all right, so he was in it, and he looks like he's the son of Ted Arcidi and Jafar. I forget his name, but Cody Rhodes and Goldust were in it. I presume to set up their WrestleMania 30 match, which I have no problem with that. And I have no problem with Goldust and Cody being in this. My point is, though, is that they pulled double duty because they worked on the pre-show against the Outlaws where they dropped the tag titles, and that pisses me off because why the fuck are the Outlaws winning the tag titles, literally 15 years after they were cool? I'm not even joking. I was in middle school when these guys were cool. And now it's like, oh, look, they made their comeback and won the tag titles back. And I'm just saying, you have the Shield, you have the Wyatts, you have the Usos, you have the Real Americans. You have those teams. And the team that ultimately beats the Rhodes are the New Age Outlaws. Sure, okay. And I know Goldust is an old-timer too, but it's like, you look at the effort he puts into his matches, and it's like, yeah, and him and Cody being a tag team is something fresh, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's different, that's fine. I had no problem with that. And they crafted a good storyline to get them to the tag title, so I didn't have a problem with that. The Outlaws feel like they're just in there because they're Triple H's buddies, and that kind of makes me sick, and I don't like that. And it's like the Outlaws really haven't changed anything since '98. It's just the same song and dance that they were doing back then. It was over back then, and then when it got old, they flushed them down the drain because the shit got old. Now I just feel like I'm watching the 3 Live Crew or VKM or whatever. I remember when 3 Live Crew won the tag titles in TNA, and I was like, what the fuck? Seriously? America's Most Wanted, Team Canada, Triple X. 3 Live Crew gets the belts. Okay, sure. Anyway, I'm going off on so many tangents here. I can't even focus right now. Okay, Royal Rumble. So you have all those guys in the match, and Bryan can't be in it. That's dog shit. That's ridiculous. Especially since they set up Jake Roberts to be in there. It's like, all right, if you're going to dust off anybody to be in this thing, could it at least be Jake Roberts? So I don't know. But anyway, my point is, Daniel Bryan should have had a spot in the Royal Rumble, and the ultimate winner of the Rumble, it should have been okay, it's either going to be Bryan or it's going to be Punk, and the guy that doesn't win the Rumble gets Triple H. That should have been the plan. That was the storyline that, again, I'm pointing at you, WWE, that you constructed, and that can't happen because Batista has to win the Royal Rumble. And that crowd shat all over it, and that was hilarious. I mean, that was just fun as hell, and just a real sign of look, we don't want this. Fuck you. We're going to tell you fuck you, and this is not what we wanted. This is not what you set up. Well, I guess they kind of set it up, but we were worried when they set it up. It's like, oh, is Batista going to interfere with Bryan and that whole thing that you had set up for months? Oh, he is? Oh, well, then fuck you, because we wanted the Bryan thing, and it's just... oh my god, it's just fucking ridiculous. Another guy that was in the match was Corporate Kane. He needed a Rumble spot for some reason. Again, not Daniel Bryan. And another thing that they did in this Rumble, they did, the Shield and the Wyatts had a brief stare down in the ring, and they did nothing with it. I'm just like, you... fuck you. It's like, you won't even let us have it for a little bit. You won't even give us a little taste of it. You just fuck you. Just fuck you. I'm laughing and I'm pissed off at the same time. It's very conflicted emotions because at the same time I feel like we're being trolled by the WWE, and it's some epic trolling and it's kind of hilarious, but it just makes me sad when you have all these cool things that you could do and you just deliberately refuse to do it, and I don't understand why. And Batista wins the Rumble and nobody gives a shit. The crowd reaction pretty much said all there was needed to be said. And Michael Cole summed it up best. Michael Cole summed up the WWE's attitude about this whole thing. He said, it's like, Batista said that he is going to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Deal with it. Hashtag deal with it. That sums up the WWE's attitude about this entire thing. It's like, look, it doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter who you like. It doesn't matter what storylines we do beforehand and what characters we highlight. We're going to do whatever the fuck we want to do, and that's too fucking bad. Sorry if you don't like it. It's just, oh my god. Oh god, it was so bad. And people said that it was going to happen after Raw this week. People were like, oh my god, Batista's going to win the Rumble. And I wanted to believe that that just wouldn't happen. I wanted to believe that they were just messing with us. And my hope was not founded at all. So again, joke's on me. Deal with it. But yeah, this show was a disaster. I mean, this show was just an absolute disaster. And that crowd really sums up my reaction to the whole thing. I mean, when they're chanting, "We want divas," and Daniel Bryan while the WWE title match is going on, and then they're booing. They pretty much did nothing but boo after number 30 was in there and Bryan wasn't out there, and they started chanting for Daniel Bryan. The only thing they kind of did was that they started cheering for Roman Reigns. And it was like, all right, if it can't be Bryan and it can't be Punk, at least let it be the guy that killed 12 guys and eliminated all those guys in the Rumble. No, we're just going to give it to Batista. Fuck you. It's like, oh, damn you. You make us want these things and then you take it away. You're so cruel. So cruel. But, I mean, I can't say enough about how much of a disaster this show was from a booking standpoint. It really just highlights how stubborn Vince McMahon can be and how stubborn WWE booking can be sometimes and how they will deliberately spit in the face of the fans that want something to happen. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And like I said, the only thing I liked about this show was the Daniel Bryan-Bray Wyatt match. I thought that was a very good match, but that wasn't enough to save the train wreck of booking that was Royal Rumble 2014. It was not good at all. Just one of the worst book shows I've seen in a while. Wow, yeah, that's all I've got. Just can't wait for the rest of the road to WrestleMania. This is gonna be so much fun. Hooray!